I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me. And what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me.
We're in a 100-year-old brick warehouse downtown Salt Lake. This place is completely empty. There's nothing in it yet, but we wanted to come here and start filming now. So we are putting essentially what is like an accelerator in this, and we're going to revamp downtown Salt Lake by bringing some of the coolest shit, the coolest tech companies in an art gallery vibe, place it in a 100-year-old warehouse, maintain all the brick, maintain all the beams, put executive coaching and executive consulting in here, media services, creatives, entrepreneurs, founders, make a founders lab so that we all have a place to congregate downtown, throw events in the warehouse, but basically run up and do business. I'm going to give you a little bit of my background. The reason why this new business model is starting to come to life is because of my lived experience as a founder. I have built a few different companies. A couple of them have gotten to a pretty good size. We're talking a couple hundred employees, big international oil companies investing in these things. I started those companies from scratch. There was two guys in a closet in the back of a hangar, and one of them ended up with 200 employees headquartered in Houston with offices all over North America. The whole time I was doing that at different phases, there was a common theme that I felt, which was stuff would start to go good and I'd feel really good about it, and I'd kind of forget that I was in the middle of something really serious, and then eventually the hard work would come again, the plateau and the climb and the plateau and the climb. So at different phases throughout this whole thing, as a CEO and founder, I felt isolation, and a lot of times that isolation drove to slight depression and just was really, really hard. It was a serious struggle. This is a common thing. Every single business owner that I know that has built a business goes through this. You start off, you get people around, it's all really exciting, and then the hard work starts. That's great. You still love it. It might be something you're passionate about, but inevitably that is day in and day out and day in and day out. You're trying to solve a lot of different problems yourself. Most of the time, as you scale these businesses, there's a lot of stuff that you don't know that you have to learn on the fly. That takes a long time, especially if you're going from a company that is doing $100,000 in revenue to something that does 20 million in revenue. You have to figure out how to hire executive teams, do management, or put management teams in place, get guys or girls that are often more experienced than you, that are older than you. If you start taking private equity and venture capital money, that's a whole different story. Should you take that money? What path should you go? All these things are different skills, traits, and experience you have to gain while running your company. And so my experience with this, lived experience, is that can be very, very isolating. And it actually gets to the point where it starts to take the fun out of doing the business for you. Consequently, on the other side of that, if you go to your own building, you're in your own office, and you're trying to figure out all these problems on your own, it gets really tiring to try to do that every day rather than just do what you love doing. So with Agora, my whole goal when I left my company, my whole goal and my new why was to figure out how to start a business that would help entrepreneurs and founders put some structure and some strategy around their business so that it can scale faster. Imagine this. You have a business, you're running it, and it has a great product or a great service, and you just want it to scale faster. Usually, the biggest impedance to that is your experience as a founder. Your access to resources, your network. Who do I know that can help? And typically, we don't have super large networks when we're starting these businesses. If you go the route of a startup where you raise money, private equity and venture capital, those venture capital and private equity guys know what the biggest risk to that company is. It's execution on scale. So they'll put spaces together that are called accelerators. And all those accelerators do is put structure in place and give a building for these companies they invest in their portfolio to all come to one place, and they help them, like give them ideas. Here's what you should do with a board. Here's what you should do with a management team. Don't hire a COO yet. You're not quite ready for that. Do this. The catch with that is, to get that support and infrastructure, usually you have to take an investment. Could be warranted, could be a good idea, but a lot of times it's taken at the wrong time or with the wrong amount. And what ends up happening is you, as a founder, end up with a job. Or you don't take that money and you're kind of just out there on your own. Where do all of the guys and girls that found companies like us, that grow them to a certain size, where do we go to find peers, to find friends to consult with? Who understands what we're going through? Who can actually help us scale? Who can help us with structure? Who can help us with strategy? Who can tell me when I should have a management team and when I shouldn't? Who can help me look at my P&L? All of that stuff we're going to put in this building. The key for me, though, is what I want to bring back is that initial joy that we all feel when we start these companies. We're so pumped. We're so excited. That joy that we have at the start, I want to get that and offload a lot of the stress off these founders by putting structure around them, by giving them community, by giving them inspired partners, by giving them access to distribution, by coaching and consulting them on how to grow their business, and just let them run their business. That's what we're best at. And if we can do that for a fraction of the cost of what it costs to hire other management, then it's a no-brainer. Get a cool building, 100-year-old warehouse like this. We're going to retrofit it so that it looks like a Miami art gallery in here. Bunch of blue glass, LEDs, all that stuff. That could either be a satellite office for these companies or it could be their main office. There'll be a mix of creatives. There'll be streamers in here. There'll be gamers in here. There'll be real like brick and mortar business owners that are looking to go more digital, that want more scale, that want more distribution, they want more visibility. The private equity guys and venture capital guys are all in my network. Those are my friends. I raised a lot of money doing that. So those guys are all on the outside of this, waiting for this to exist. The reason why those guys want it to exist is because they want these founders to have support and structure as well. That puts a lot more certainty around these deals. It's structured deal flow. So then the private equity and VC guys are looking to Agora to say, hey, all the companies in there, we just got to see if the founder's good and if the idea and the product are good. But all the other variables about can they grow that business, it's going to be a much higher rate of success if they're in Agora. So what happens then is all of our community here at Agora builds our businesses, consults with each other, gets inspired. And when and if you need money to scale because you're doing so good, or you need money to hire people to build infrastructure, you'll have a group around you that'll know when and how to structure that so that you are taking it at the right time. And when you're ready, we'll put a phone call in and we'll have the private equity and the VC guys come down and you'll get funded. This is 99% of the stress that I didn't enjoy about Cold Bore that made me really not love it. It's going to take that and flip it to me just running my business and getting to pay for a fraction of what it would cost to have one management person hired for an office in here, fractional executives, CEO, CTO, COO, VP of marketing, sales, whatever you need. We have connections to the largest placement company in the US. They'll find the exact right fit. We'll bring them in. They'll work at Agora. They'll work with all the companies. So as an owner, you get fractional management. The social media teams are going to be cycling through Agora weekly. We'll have weekly meetings on strategy. We'll be pumping out content. Your content and your company will benefit from the other 12, 15, 20 companies that are in here that are constantly pumping out content. This becomes a business hub for downtown Salt Lake. It attracts clients, it attracts customers, it attracts financing, and it turns out a really repeatable product for any of the companies that come in here. If I'd had this while I was building Cold Bore, it would have been a no-brainer. $2,500 for an office or whatever they are, $5,000 a month for a fractional executive, $5,000 a month for the base media package. You're talking about $12,500 to $20,000 a month, depending on the size of your company. That's the cost of one management level executive. You got the office, you got community, you got access to financing, you've got social media services being done, so you don't have to worry about it. You've got the ability to leverage every other company in here. I can't think of any other levers you could pull to scale your business faster and be super happy while you're doing it. Honestly, the more important one to me is we have to make money. You know that. That's the point of everything. That's the point of business. We're going to make money. We're going to profit more. We're going to grow. That part, honestly, just comes down to very basic structure and execution. The real point of doing this is everybody in this building is going to be so much happier doing that every day. They're going to love their job. We're going to love working together. It's going to be a blast. We'll have events in here. We've got a big warehouse in the middle. You'll be part of the membership group. You'll be part of the events. We'll be going to Park City. We'll be taking trips during the year together as a group. We'll have financing guys come in that want to invest in companies, whatever. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's going to go on here. The point is, if I had this to come in and be happy, I would have been able to go forever in building that company and never burn out. So we're going to take you on a little bit of a tour here in a little bit and show you the rest of this building in this space. And we'll bring you back here, and I don't know how to end this. So Chandler's just going to cut it and edit this shit out. He's smiling behind the camera, and whack. So originally, we got this building. This is basically, there's 3 parts to this building. There's the west wing, which is 3 floors, all kind of offices that are semi-built out already. There's the middle, which is like, how high is that? 20-foot ceilings? I don't know. 25 maybe? 20, 25? But anyway, so there's offices, 3 floors, warehouse, and then there's this single floor side. This was, I think, where they stored a lot of stuff. So this whole building originally for Salt Lake was like a produce depot. They'd bring produce in and ship it out of here. 100-year-old warehouse, so much cool brick. There's old timber we're gonna show you in this side, like literally timber you can't get anymore, 18-inch red cedar. They're not even allowed to cut that stuff down anymore. So the vibe inside this building is super badass. Originally, we were gonna start in this east wing. And the idea was to outfit this area with some common area, put a bunch of blue glass and neon in here, some conference rooms, and then multiple office spaces for the first companies that we're gonna put in here. I think what we ended up deciding on is that we're gonna move over to the west side because it's easier to build out. And then we worked a deal. So Brandon, Blazer Ventures, and Bridge Capital, they own this building and they're currently in here. So they're building, they own the Brunch Me Hard, they own the other apartments around here. They're developing the whole other block over here. They did the Post, the Granary. So they got a lot of big projects. That company, which is 10 people or so, is actually operating out of here right now. Works out perfect for us because they're gonna help us develop this building. And they're actually been so great because he said, you know what we should do, since we have people, we wanna move over here. We'll take this side, we'll develop that. You guys develop this side and put your first companies in there because it's kind of officed up already, it's ready to go. And then we'll build this out together. And so this common area is gonna be for events. There will be a conference room, 2nd floor up there. Underneath the 2nd floor, we're gonna have a media room with podcast, LED wall, set up constantly, like permanently, so that we can record all the time. And I think this one, so like I said, my other business, I do art, graffiti. A lot of this is gonna be like graffiti vibes in here, like kind of a back alley. It'll be super dope. And then when you come through here, so there's actually an entry to the 2nd floor. So up here, we're gonna blow that cinder block out. There'll be a walkway to the conference room, and then there'll be a walkway in there. Coming down here, this is the west side of the building, so they're working in there right now, so we're gonna be a little more quiet. But on this side, we'll just go walk through it and show you guys. But this is where there's a lot of like old sliding doors, the 18-inch redwood beams, 100-year-old floors with little tiny wood floor, like whatever that's called. I believe that's Eastern cedar, did floor planking. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Those are sick wood floors. Conference rooms, bathrooms. So we're gonna start on this side. The first 8 companies of Agora are gonna be in here, and then we're gonna move to the 2nd floor, and we'll fill that. And then we'll have the common space between the 2 companies, and they'll be building out all their projects over there. So they're gonna have like diagrams of the rest of downtown Salt Lake. They're gonna be showing all their development for all this around here. It's just gonna be sick. They're gonna be great partners to have in this. So we'll walk through here and we'll show you guys this really quick. Okay, so check this out. Oh, how's it going, buddy? Good, you okay if we film in here for a sec? Yeah. Okay. All right, so this is the west side of this building. So a little bit easier to build out. They got the beams that kind of run down the middle of these rooms. So the idea is we're gonna put offices this way, and the construction guys are coming in, so there'll be a lot of, we're just gonna try to maintain as much of the building as we can, because I mean, Like, this is what I love about this so much. So this with black steel, blue glass, some neons, multiple companies in here. Like, imagine your office is officed out of here with a bunch of other badass companies. That's gonna be sick. So I come around here. One of my favorite things about this is you can go around this building and you can see when it was like a produce depot. They still have like some of the guys' names and the different stations where they worked, like written on the walls. And over here, like glue flint hides. I think they did like hide tanning up here. Glue salt calf. There's a guy's name on the wall. We'll show you downstairs. There's a guy's name on the wall with like a date of like 1934 or something, like something Nightingale. That stays. I want to put like a piece of glass over that. You know how the Banksies in Park City, they have the glass over it? I'm going to put that on there so we maintain it. But so then you come over here. This is where we can blow out these cinder blocks right here. Push that out, and then this will be an open mezzanine to the warehouse, like the high bay. So this will be, again, pretty dope office space. Close this off, probably put 3 or 4 other companies in here, or if we get bigger companies, they could have this whole space right here, which is pretty dope. So 3 floors this way, and then we're a little bit quiet downstairs. We're just gonna do B-roll for that because they're still working in there. But 3 floors first, high bay, far side. Agora will have the right of first refusal on the whole building. The plan is to fill the whole thing up eventually. Okay, so the AZ building is what it's called, is 400 West and 500 South. So this is the exit to the airport right here. We're literally 7 minutes from the airport. What I like the best about this location, aside from the building, which is perfect, is that this whole neighborhood is pretty much the roughest neighborhood in Salt Lake. It's the part where everybody said, don't go down there. There's all the homeless people, all the crackheads and everybody, they're literally on the sidewalk right here. I worked at a venture accelerator in Venice, in California. And I was there for when they took that area and like Snapchat and Facebook moved in there. They found these old buildings that were kind of surrounded by the rough part. I'm so pumped. I love this vibe. It's like the rough part of town. Most of these people, they don't ever bother anyone. They don't do anything, but everything in life is about creating an experience, right? I don't shy away from the roughness that's around here. To me, this is what gives this area character. This is the opportunity, is that this part of this downtown, I think this will be the new pinnacle of Salt Lake City in the next 5-7 years. When all this is done and redeveloped, I really am excited to be part of the rejuvenation of all of this cool architecture down here. And one thing that's really important to a lot of people, like Brendan, the guy who owns this, and construction guy that I'm working with, is this homeless shelter. So the homeless mission is attached to this building, which a lot of people are like, that's crazy. You don't want to have that. Don't get that building. I'm like, why? Let's go make that whole neighborhood good. Let's see what we can do with this homeless shelter. See if we can improve it in some way. See if we can help this part of downtown and these people. To me, this feels like there's a great metaphor or analogy from starting a business in this neighborhood to ended up being a big CEO of something successful. This, what's going on outside here right now, that's the lowest of the low, the bottom. You come in here and you put your faith and your inspiration and everything you can give this area and lift it up. A rising tide lifts all ships. It will help some of these people in here. It will bring more attention to this stuff. That is positive impact for a city like this. And I think that kind of that culture blend also is really, really cool for Salt Lake City. So the area where everybody would shy away from for the last 20 years, I think that's actually the opportunity. This could be the coolest tech entrepreneurial / downtown area, I think, in the US. So that's why we're here. Check, this is the one I was talking about over here. I think it says Gale Nightingale, 1937. How sick is that? That's getting a piece of glass right there. That is 90 years old, whoever wrote on that. It's kind of cool to think that someone was in here doing that.